139, verses 1 through 6. And then Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. So we have Psalms 139, verse 1 through 6. And then Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. I'm going to go ahead and start. Psalms 139, O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my setting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You have hedged me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. And this is the key verse that God gave me. Verse 6. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. And then if you flip over to Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. Where there is no counsel, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. For a little while, I'm going to share with you something I learned at Virginia Union University. And it was when I was in the class, Pastoral Care, Leadership, Learning, and Global Responsibility. And it's an overall objective of Introduction to Pastoral Care, Leadership, Learning, and Global Responsibility. It is to help students in the instructional tensions of academic environment. As the student is being exposed to theory, practice, and practical realities of ministry in a social, professional, and personal setting. The history behind theological education, now called clinical pastoral education, CPE, was started by Dr. William Bryan, superintendent of the Westchester State Hospital in Massachusetts. He hired Antoine T. Bozian to be the hospital chaplain, who himself was a former client. He was the reason why the first clinical pastoral education was started. The first area of course objective and learning outcome is pastoral care and counseling. The course objective and learning outcome for this course was met by getting the student to become more of an independent thinker when it comes to problem solving, crisis, and family situations. I will begin in the area of pastoral care. Pastors, chaplains, clergy, professional counselors, medical staff, doctors, social workers, and all others that met around the table as a prevention, treatment, intervention team with educational skills, knowledge, and the ability to work with and assist the individual or families as the team make informed decisions as leaders in the care of others based on ethical and legal principles and ethics for those who are experiencing these life crises. Moreover, another approach to assist the client in recovery, healing, wholeness, liberation, and renewed hope is using faith, biblical storytelling. The team and client will be able to discuss research and find a theoretical approach that best fits the framework for the theory and practice to address all of the diverse environmental and diverse problems of the client. The recovery medical team uses techniques and strategies to better help the client to understand his or her condition, whether mild or severe. This will assist the client and the staff to develop an action plan for recovery, to assist in helping the client to get back to health, healing, wholeness, and well-being for the client. There is hope. On the other hand, pastoral counseling, learning objective, and learning outcomes were met because I have developed the ability to think, to feel, and to experience a life crisis as it affects the client and the lives of others in their life. The focus was on the individual, marital, family, relationships, and life transitions. The definition of professional counseling can have many meanings as has been researched. For example, professional counseling simplifies the nature of the counseling relationship, roles of the professional counselor, consumers of professional counseling service, and practicing areas of professional counselors. The American Counseling Association, ACA 2010. Another definition for professional counseling, it is defined as being a process that may be developmental or intervening. Counselors focus on their clients' goals. Counseling involves making choices and changes that leads to growth and actions of having a purposeful and resourceful well-being and healthy life. And that comes from Gladding, 2004. The wellness wheel, and I will pass out some of these. What I'm saying now, just take it in, and I have some handouts later. Okay. The wellness wheel brings it all together as a whole so that one can actually understand and see the moral value of what should be most important in a person's life, such as God, family, children, others, jobs, self, etc. Also being resilient. You remember we talked about these balls. Being resilient, learning to be strong within, spiritually, to bounce back like a ball from life's setbacks and losses. This was also discussed and demonstrated by one of our groups, Team 8. The members also in the textbook of the 2021 trends of the 21st century that was also discussed. Out of the trenches and into the future, the 21st century, out of the trenches and into the future, the well-being sphere. Some other spheres that were discussed was the economic and job careers and the educational and learning spheres. These are very important spheres for discussion concerning equality, fairness, justice for all children, groups, and families. The more we know, the more we need to grow, change, and take action to reset, develop, educate, renovate, and create towards the 21st century and beyond. These contemporary trends and their impact on our global society has affected society in both positive and negative ways. And that is why we are experiencing some of the problems that we are facing and having to find solutions to these ever-growing dilemmas. Our pastoral leadership responsibility to the earth as involved mature leaders worldwide, nationally, locally, statewide, and globally is to help remedy the problems of the earth. The film and documentaries discuss some of these same issues. We can and need to be a part of the solution and not a part of the ever-growing problem. We are the answer, restoring our broken society. If we do not take care of our earth and replenish and restore it, then the earth will begin to stop flourishing and producing fruits, vegetables, trees, grass, sun, rain, water, and even the air we breathe will be limited. Mm-hmm. Each person is responsible for caring for our earth and being more self-conscious of and aware of how we misuse and mistreat our earth and its resources. Sometimes I think that we take our entire God-given resources for granted. One day, we may not have water to drink or food to eat. Some people in the world are already experiencing this problem. They probably wish they could walk in your shoes and my shoes. This is a call for action that we as responsible citizens will begin to take action if we have not done so already, to make the world a greater place, starting here right now. Mm-hmm. We will be more resourceful, more responsible, and more reliable to do our part and to save our world in any way that we honestly can. As being a spiritual leader in the church and community, I do have faith to believe that as we continue to journey on this sacred God-given path, that God will continue to grace us to serve and care for those in ways that will enrich and strengthen our society, organizations, and churches. And these are my references. Wow. And that's, God bless y'all. This is what I have for you today. And I do have some handouts. Ms. Brahma, if you will come up and help me pass these out.